All right, looking good, B. You know, yellow's a wonderful color on you. From your hair to your earrings to your dress, you being all wet, I love it all. Okay, the dress may have a little too much fabric for my taste, but besides, that's great. Wait, what are you doing with that baseball bat? What are you doing? No, 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 no! Not the car! Ooh, shots of girl over here screaming, yes, but no, not the car, not property damage, girl. Are you smiling with it? No, 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 no! Not the fire hydrant, no! Now you're over here spinning and smiling and acting a fool and shit. Really? That's what Jay got you doing out these streets, babe. Wait, where did the kids go? Now they over here frolicking. Yo, shout out to Crystal Waters Ghetto Days with that. Okay. But, my God, Beyonce, really? Miss Knowles, really? I mean, I know your husband cheated on you and everything, but property damage, that's what we're going for? Excuse me. Um, hold on. Hold up. Who are you? A sister? Yeah, a random sister coming into my show. Yes, that's right. Okay, for what? Well, she had every right. Who? Beyonce. To break windows in people's cars. Yes, random people's car windows, not her husband's. Yeah? Okay, yeah. What sense does that make to you, sister? Well, what was she supposed to do? Wait. Hold it. Who the hell are you? That bitch. Okay, that bitch. And what do you gotta say? Listen, if it were me, I would have done a whole lot worse. How so? Well, for one thing, the city would be on fire. Or better yet, Lorena Bobbitt. No, Sam. Okay, that's nice, but now, how would you go about doing all that? And what purpose would it serve exactly? Yeah. Yeah, think about that for a bit, bitch. Okay, so you're just gonna agree with what Jay did? Wait, hold on, hold it, hold up. Now, who the hell are you? The one who runs the world. And who's that? Girls. Okay, all right. Oh yeah, get out, get out, get out. This motherfucker has lost his goddamn mind. This motherfucker over here acting a fool, that's what I know. This motherfucker ain't shit. Hold on, bitch, you ain't shit no ways. Well, now that all the emotional intruders have left the building, let's tackle this situation logically, tactically, with a level head, shall we? Or, wait a minute. Do they actually have a point? I mean, what would I do if I were in her situation? Well, let's talk about it, shall we? Yeah, let's talk about it. But what is the main topic here? Like, big picture wise, the sole question at hand. Oh, yes, I remember now. Mental versus emotional. Head or heart? The words or the music? No, wait, that's the opera capriccio, but it is what it is. But it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. But which one to start with? Well, for all intents and purposes, let's start with the mental, shall we? Now, little side note, we talked about the quote-unquote mental before in session 1, episode 8, Escubianate too. But that was more so focusing on mental health and the various or quote-unquote classic / quote-unquote common disorders that can affect it. But here, we're going to talk about the quote-unquote mental in relation to how you go about situations. Now, To go about things logically is to follow the facts, consider the evidence, if there is any, look at things objectively, use common sense, deductive reasoning, critical thinking, etc., etc., things like that. Granted, most people can't do that, as they don't possess those skills, but that's beside the point. Alright, let's start off by using an instance I see on a regular basis at work. Now, if and or when I need assistance with something, the logical answer or the first thing I would do would be to greet someone or acknowledge their existence, and then proceed to ask the person in question for help. Of course, the quote-unquote greeting/salutation part before making an inquiry can be quote-unquote optional, apparently, but that leads to the second part, emotional. To go about things emotionally is to take into account your feelings, emotions, hormones, impulses even, and quote-unquote go crazy, or quote-unquote go off, or things go all the way left, to make a bold move, to do something drastic, dramatic, maybe even psychotic. I don't know how you like this. I don't know how your emotional strength is. But yeah, those are just a couple examples. But here's an emotional example. I'm at work and someone disrespects me, i.e. puts their dump of clothes on a rack I'm currently working on. I say, excuse me, what the hell are you doing? Then, of course, they start talking foolishness or start giving me some BS excuse they've given everybody else for, let's say, 14 to 20 years. Now, my body is heating up from adrenaline and I feel myself about to, quote-unquote, go postal, as I always say. What do I do? Well, if it's just based on my emotions alone, child, let's be honest, I'm going all Tanisha BGC Bad Girls Club on that ass, okay? Oh, I got you. I get no fucking say cause of y'all. Y'all never gonna say cause of me. Wake the fuck up. What's the problem? Come on now. What's the problem? I got a problem with all of y'all. All of y'all. Yes it do. Yes it do. Pop off. Pop off. Pop off. Yeah. I got it down for it. I really don't care. Cause hey, y'all stepped to me as a motherfucking rap. Period. Or better yet, I can also go New York. I can also go New York from Flavor of Love as well. Hold on. That's harmony. You know what? Didn't you leave the house the first motherfucking night and that was for a reason, bitch? That was for a reason. What? Because that's a bitch, because you was fake. Looking all over Flav. I didn't want that shit, bitch. Set your motherfucking ass down. Yeah. So there's that. But either way, either direction I go, whether it be Tanisha in New York, epic behavior. Now, the only difference between me and Tanisha in that situation would be that I'd be using wooden hangers instead of pots and banging somebody's face. And of course, the difference between me and New York is that I just be in the back as opposed to just on the stage. But I digress, and that's besides the point. Now, could I actually do that in real life? Well, stay tuned. No, but all joking aside, I couldn't because, I'm not putting my livelihood at risk for somebody else's stupidity. Oh, hell no. And that acknowledgement actually shows the conflict that is mind over matter. Feelings or facts. Going mental or being emotional. Hey, which one to choose? Well, it's very complicated. For humans anyway. Animals is all emotional. It's all instinctual, basic, primal, all that. Now, there are many factors to consider when deciding whether to let logic or emotions lead the way when it comes to decision making. And there are many schools of thought on it. Because, supposedly men are more prone to be more logical and don't feel anything and are, quote unquote, usually devoid of emotion. 10 men. If only he had a heart. And women, they tend to be a lot more emotional and can never run with simple logic. You know, I guess a scarecrow, if only she had a brain. And also, young people are believed to be more emotional, and older people are more logical. You know, youthful hormones and wisdom comes with maturity and age. You know, all that, all those foolish, ridiculous things. However, in the same breath, men can be just as, nah, scratch that. They're more emotional than women could ever be, since they had to bottle up their emotions, and they always start acting out when it reaches a boiling point. And women are way more logical than men could ever be, as they consider every single factor that could go right and more times wrong in a situation. Overthinking, child, when I tell you, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Ain't for the faint of heart, y'all. And also, in the same breath, young people can be more logical and plan ahead. And emotions still can take over and get the best of older people. Oh, that happens. Trust me, you still see old people fighting on these streets. You don't see it that much, but you still see it. So it varies all around. And all these variables, aspects, views, avenues can lead to indecisiveness/indecision. What? It's hard. Every aspect of human life has a mental and emotional aspect to it. Some more than others. On the one hand, you can make mental decisions, disregard your feelings, and have the same sheltered life. You know, the idea of, whether you want to be boring and plain or slow and steady. I don't know. It depends on if you're in a race or not. Shout out to all the tortoises out in these streets. On the other hand, you can make emotionally charged decisions, throw logic out the window, and go out on a whim. Take a chance. Have a moment in time. I mean, the last one, we'll go into depth. We'll go in depth in a later episode later in the session, but exercise a grip. But you could have the time of your life. You can let life do what it wants with you. Take caution to the wind. You only live once, and I don't make any rules, Nick. I go with the flow. It's a great quote. Love the film. Basic Instinct, 1992. And actually, this is the perfect film to illustrate mental over emotional. Long story short, the person or the woman in question, Catherine, played by Sharon Stone, uses her logic to drive Nick, played by Michael Douglas, crazy all throughout. Granted, he was a drinker, Jack Daniels specifically, and a partaker of cocaine, or coke, as it's referred to in the film, but that's another story. Oh, and that's a great segue. That could lead to our next factor, altering the battle between the thinkers and the feelers. Drugs and alcohol, whether it's drug-crazed behavior or something, or being inspired by liquid courage. Both can enhance, enable, complicate, ruin, and cloud judgment when it comes to what to do in a certain situation, whether to fight and set it off or walk away and move on. The whole flight or fight response. Yeah. To hold out a little longer and wait for something/someone, or run away. Or run after something or someone. To cut your losses or to get even. I don't know. I mean, this could be my one and only chance to do this. I mean, what do you got to lose? But this could be the biggest mistake of my life. And I could be over here wasting time. Like, don't do anything stupid. Think it through. Work through it. Think it through. Come on. I don't know. Should I? Shouldn't I? I mean, what am I gonna do? You see, it's hard. And then you factor in behavioral disorders like manic depression and borderline personality disorder. I mean, one deals with the high highs and low lows, or should I say, one deals with high highs followed by low lows, and the other deals with emotions hitting you all at once with no warning, but at the highest extremes possible. I mean, Talk about just a constant emotional roller coaster. Shout out to Vivian Green with that. Yes, baby. Talk about you. And also, you can have ones affecting the mental, like schizophrenia and ADHD. You know, one entails visual, auditory hallucinations, paranoia, and delusions, which are false beliefs. And the other is where you can't pay attention and also other executive functions, whether it be impulse control, sleep, goals, are affected as well. It's just a constant mental warfare. Now, me in relation to mind or heart matters, I should say, yeah, I am emotionally detached, so I'm more of a mental person, if anything. I'm always thinking, deep thinking at that. However, on the flip side, I have taken some very interesting risks, mostly fueled by curiosity rather than emotions. But that's a different story. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do experience emotions, but just not as often as most people. Does that make me sociopathic? I don't know. I mean, I do consider myself a mix of Heath Ledger's Joker and Sharon Stone's Captain Trammell from Basic Instinct, so yeah, draw your own conclusions on that. Do your research and figure it out for me, please. Oh, yes, and sometimes your decision to use a mental or emotional response to a situation can depend on your experience of the situation. But those tend to be those tend to fall under emotional responses used under subjective reasoning. And here is where the heart and the mind meet. Now, when does one start and the other one end? Or when does one end and the other one begin? Yeah, I have no clue. Yeah, it may start off logical and end emotional, or vice versa. Who knows? I mean, my goodness, the amount of possibilities. Ugh, yeah. You know, I don't know how Greek philosophers did this all the time. I just don't like constantly going back and forth, doing this, doing that. You know what? You know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to work. I cannot do this anymore. Not only because I have to get ready for work in a matter of, I mean, technically it's 4 hours, but I can say 10 minutes. But yeah, I gotta get ready. But mostly because, you know, when it comes to matters of the heart and mind, that's all I got. But before I go out into the street and decide whether to consider sense or senses, a few things. One, for matters of the mind, it's always best to consider the facts and objective truth first, but don't forget your heart. You need passion, you need feeling, you need to be touching heartstrings every now and again. Or better yet, SWV, can you say it for me, please? Use your heart and your mind. I don't remember the lyrics, so no. Number 2, for matters of the heart, moments in time, once in a lifetime chances, they're there for you to take. You know, if you want them anyways. Express how you feel. Be in touch with your emotions, yes, but don't forget your mind. Think about the action a little bit at least. I mean, come on. Where is your head, Catherine? Where is your head in your
my mind is playing tricks on me.
What the mind of love reveals as your heart conceals. What the mind of love reveals.
This year Halloween fell on a weekend.
Katie Lang, what does it reveal? I don't know. You tell me, girl. You don't wrote the song, so you tell me. And number 3. Exercise proper judgment and figure out when to think, when to feel, when to do both, one or the other, or neither. And speaking of, should I go to work today or... No, I need the money. I gotta go. Gotta go.
So we triple teamed on them, dropping them motherfucking bees on them. The more I swung, the more blood flew. Then he disappeared, and my boys disappeared too. Then I felt just like a fiend. It wasn't even close to Halloween. It was dark as fuck on the streets. My hands were all bloody from punching on the concrete. Goddamn, homie. My mind is playing tricks on me.